The situation we are dissecting today is not just a behavioral pattern. It is the final stage of a very complex game. It is the moment when illusions dissolve into thin air, replaced by cold, calculating pragmatism, and there is nothing surprising about this. It is simply biology harshly intersecting with sociology in the conditions of a modern metropolis. The topic we are raising: why do successful, attractive women over 40 suddenly start choosing so-called ordinary men? The very men who, by all their past standards, simply wouldn't have made the cut to enter their lives. This is a powerful phenomenon, and we must speak about it honestly, without sentimentality or false tolerance. We are tearing off the masks to see the gears of the mechanism that grinds down destinies. A look back, the era of illusions. Put yourself in the shoes of such a woman in her 20s, her 30s, or even her early 35s. She was at the peak of her reproductive and social market value. She was the center of attention. She bathed in compliments and offers. It seemed to her that time was an infinite resource, and her choices were limitless. Social networks and dating apps only fueled this illusion, creating the sensation of an endless conveyor belt of suitors. Every swipe right offered new hope. Every like confirmed her exceptionalism. Her internal compass was tuned exclusively to hypergamy, the search for the highest status, the best genetic material, the most powerful social capital available in her circle. She wasn't just looking for a man, she was looking for a rocket to launch her own life, or at the very least, a lifetime ticket to the VIP box. Ordinary guys were just background noise to her, invisible staff maintaining the scenery of her vibrant life. But this chase for the highest status, for that top 1% of men, comes with a colossal invisible price. And at 40, the bill comes due, a bill that cannot be paid with past merits. The myth of the alpha. Let's first break down what this 1% is: the man who was her target all this time. He is, as a rule, a person in constant motion. He is ambitious. He is successful. He is a predator in his business interests. But he has a colossal flaw from the perspective of a long-term partnership. He is perpetually, emotionally unavailable. He is either busy building an empire or too accustomed to women being expendable material that changes as he grows personally and financially. He doesn't need a partner. He needs a fan or a trophy. He gives her status. He gives her excitement. He gives her expensive gifts and access to closed clubs. But he does not give her the main thing what any human needs over the long haul: safety, predictability, and an emotional anchor. He might disappear for a week, ignore calls, and she will tolerate it because his status justifies any neglect. A woman at this stage of her life often focuses on what I call facade value: the car brand, the designer labels, the level of restaurants, the prestige of the social circle. She thinks that if a man demonstrates high status, he will automatically be a good partner. This is a cognitive trap that always snaps shut. Because a man who has achieved huge success in a competitive environment is often either a clinical narcissist or someone who has learned to value his own interests above all else. And he views the woman as an accessory that must match his current status, like an expensive watch that can be swapped for a newer model. The moment of truth, hitting the wall of reality. Thus, by 40, she finds herself in a very difficult situation. She spent the best years of her life chasing these alpha males or pseudo-alphas. They either didn't want to marry her, keeping her in the friend zone with privileges, or they married her but continued living their bachelor lives full of infidelity and emotional neglect. Or they simply left for younger models as soon as her market value began its inevitable decline. And this is where cognitive dissonance and a sharp, almost emergency change of strategy occur. She approaches the critical line where the biological clock isn't just ticking, it's tolling like a bell, deafening her with fear of the future. Friends around her are already nursing their second children or getting divorced and receiving alimony, while she has only a collection of bright memories and an empty apartment. She realizes that if she doesn't take emergency measures, she might remain alone. And loneliness for a woman after 45, in her worldview, is not just the absence of a partner. It is a social failure, a stigma, a total capitulation before the brutal marriage market. It is at this moment that her internal priorities flip upside down under the pressure of panic. She stops looking for a rocket. She starts looking for an anchor. This is the essence of this phenomenon. She no longer needs to fly to the stars. She needs someone to hold her hand when the storm of old age begins. The psychology of chase fatigue. Let's talk about the psychological source of this pivot. It's called chase fatigue. Fatigue from unpredictability. Fatigue from drama. From constantly checking the phone. From guessing, will he call or not? And, most importantly, fatigue from competition. At 25, a woman joyfully enters the competitive struggle for a top-tier man. She is ready to fight other women, scheme, improve herself, diet. She is ready to put up with his flaws and difficult character for the sake of his status. But at 40, this resource of combat energy is depleted. She is burned out. She no longer wants to play these games. She no longer wants to be one of 5 contenders standing in line for a narcissist's attention. She wants to be the only one, even if the prize in this game no longer shines so brightly. She needs peace, she needs stability, and, most importantly, she needs a man who will be emotionally present in her life, who will see her soul, her fears, and not just her appearance or her social function. At 25, she rejected the ordinary man for his lack of ambition, for his boring job, or for his predictability. Now, his predictability becomes his greatest, most scarce virtue. Boredom transforms into safety. Who is the ordinary man? And who is this ordinary man we are talking about? He is not a loser. It is critical to understand this. He is a middle-class man, the backbone of society, who has achieved a certain level of financial security. He has a stable job. He is a professional in his field. He is paid off or is disciplined in paying his mortgage. He doesn't strive for world domination. He isn't building unicorn corporations, but he is reliable as a Swiss watch. He doesn't drink, doesn't cheat, doesn't play aggressive mind games, and most importantly, he values the simplicity of life, and he is free. He is free from that endless narcissistic drive that motivates high-status men. He doesn't look at a woman as a means of self-affirmation. He is emotionally available because he doesn't need to constantly prove his significance to the world by conquering new peaks. And in this quiet, calm harbor, the woman after 40 suddenly sees true value. She begins to notice what was previously a blind spot for her: pragmatic reevaluation of values. This is a phenomenon we must view through the prism of so-called late appreciation. This is when a woman finally evaluates not a man's potential on the market, but his real utility in daily life. She has realized that high status is just a shiny wrapper, and inside there might be emptiness or rot. But this ordinary man, this average guy she ignored at university or work, he is a steel rod. He is the one who will come when she gets a flat tire, the one who will bring medicine when she gets sick. He can provide what the millionaire could not: emotional peace and confidence in tomorrow. We must also consider the factor of lost control. Women at the peak of their attractiveness get used to controlling the situation through their sexuality. They choose, they set the rules, they set the pace of intimacy. But with age, this power relentlessly weakens, and she feels that her positions on the market are no longer as strong as before. And the ordinary man, who perhaps watched her from afar all these years, who was always kind and stable, now seems like an absolutely safe choice. He won't leave her because his market options aren't as vast as a top alpha's. At least, that's what she thinks. And she hopes he will value her simply for the fact of her presence, because he remembers what she was like when she was an inaccessible goddess to him. A deal with conscience, or a new reality. It is a very bitter truth, but many of these late marriages or late relationships with ordinary men are built on the principle of a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. This is not the romance sung in books. It is a pragmatic deal with reality. It is a deal based on fatigue from chasing the ideal and fear of approaching old age. Let's delve into the psychology of hypergamy and its final stage. When a woman is 25, she seeks a combination of three factors: sexual attractiveness, status, and reliability. Sexual attractiveness and status always come first, overshadowing everything else, because she is sure she will find reliability later, or train it into the man, remake him to suit herself. But at 40, attractiveness and status quickly fade into the background, and reliability becomes priority number one, because it is the only thing that can guarantee her a stable future without shocks. She looks at her new partner and sees in him, above all, a father archetype, not in the sense of age, but in the sense of protection and provision functions. He is a provider of safety. He is a stone wall around her life after she spent 2 decades in an emotional storm trying to tame the untamable. She is tired of being the main character of her drama. She just wants to be loved, protected, and finally, to relax. The trap for the nice guy. And this is very important for understanding the men who become the object of this late choice. Men who usually choose an ordinary woman based on their own status suddenly become in demand by women who were previously unreachable Instagram stars to them. This should be both a triumph and, simultaneously, a dangerous trap for them. The euphoria that the queen has finally paid attention to him can blind him and cause him to miss warning signals. We must speak honestly about this woman's motivation. By 40, if she hasn't had children, or if her previous marriage to a high-status man fell apart, she is looking not just for a partner, but for an urgent band-aid for her life. The ordinary man for her is often a tool to achieve a final goal she couldn't reach with a high-flying man. And this goal is often simple: to gain the social status of a married woman, to have a child before it's too late, and to secure an emotional and financial rearguard. Here lies the greatest danger for this very ordinary man. If you are a man to whom a woman came at 42, a woman who at 27 wouldn't have even noticed you in a crowd, you must ask yourself a very hard question. Is she choosing me because I am her last chance? Or is she choosing me because she has finally changed her internal values? Does she see a man in me? Or am I just a function to resolve her unfinished business? In most cases, the answer will be merciless. It is a compromise. It is a choice made out of considerations of loss, not out of considerations of true love. She chooses you not because you are her ideal, but because you are the safest, most resourceful, and available way to avoid loneliness and restore a shaken social status. The dynamics of hidden contempt. And this causes a very complex, sometimes toxic dynamic in relationships. The ordinary man feels on cloud 9 that he got the woman he considered unattainable. He is ready to forgive her past, her baggage, her drama, her inflated demands. But the woman often enters these relationships with a feeling of deeply hidden dissatisfaction or hidden contempt. She feels she sold herself short, that life forced her to lower the bar. She constantly, voluntarily or involuntarily, compares her new partner with that ideal or with those real alphas she was with before. And this comparison is always not in favor of the ordinary man. In her memory, past men remained young, daring, and rich, while next to her is an ordinary, calm person. She may value his reliability, his loyalty, his calmness, but she will miss the excitement, the prestige, that unpredictability that gave her adrenaline. And she will often take out this longing on her new partner through passive aggression, through coldness in bed, through criticism of his insufficient status or his too boring lifestyle. She will try to remake him, force him to run that race he consciously refused, to compensate for her own ambitions. Biology knows no pity. This situation is a mirror reflection of evolutionary psychology, which is cruel in its mathematics. Sexual selection has always encouraged women to seek the best of the best. But the modern world created a paradox. It gave women economic independence, which allowed them to delay partner selection until the critical moment. But the biological clock cannot be delayed. Nature did not sign a contract with feminism. Therefore, this turn to the ordinary man is not just a change in taste, it is an admission of defeat in the hypergamy race. It is the realization that time has run out, and that those men who were previously available and reliable are now the only option for guaranteed peace and stability. Women in this period go through a process that can be called expectation adjustment, or, in business language, debt restructuring. They look at their friends who also chased alphas and ended up either divorced, single, or in toxic relationships, and realize they need to urgently flip the switch. From searching for mythical potential to searching for a solid guarantee. A guarantee is the most expensive commodity after 40, and they are willing to pay for it with their freedom. Defense strategy for the man. Let's give this ordinary man some concrete advice. If you find yourself in a situation where the queen of your past, who previously ignored you, has come to you, be vigilant. Do not let your ego cloud your reason. You must understand that your main weapon now is your stability, your autonomy, and your inner strength. Your value lies not in the fact that you finally got her, but in the fact that you did not betray yourself. All these years you built your life by your own rules. You accumulated resources, you developed, and you didn't chase her, losing your dignity. Do not let her turn you into an emotional wallet or a nanny for her late-life crises. Do not become an entertainer for her boredom. Set rigid boundaries from the very beginning. Let her understand that you are choosing her, not out of desperation, not because no one else will give it up, but out of a conscious desire to have a quality, calm life. And if she brings drama, chaos, comparisons with exes, and disorder into this life, she will lose even you, her last reliable partner. You must be ready to leave at any moment, and she must feel that. Only this fear of loss will force her to respect you for real. This is a very important moment for men who may feel insulted or humiliated that they were chosen as a leftover. A man should not accept the role of a backup airfield. He must understand his increased market value, which lies in his reliability, his decency, and his ability to provide calm in this insane world. The new currency of relationships. Your stability is your new status in a world where everyone around is chasing illusions and Instagram filters. In conclusion, we must realize this situation as a social commentary on how the modern world has distorted the natural process of partner selection. When a woman has infinite choice thanks to social networks and dating apps, she is prone to delaying the serious choice indefinitely, hoping that tomorrow someone even better, richer, and more handsome will come along. And by 40, she realizes with horror that the competition has become too tough. She has to compete with 2 5-year-olds, and her market value has fallen too low. Therefore, the choice of an ordinary man is not a love story from a Hollywood movie. It is rather a harsh reality show about how time mercilessly puts everything in its place, and how important it is to value real, fundamental human qualities over external gloss and feigned status. This is a choice that tells us all that true value in life is not the ups and downs, not the emotional swings. It is the daily, predictable reliability that allows us to feel safe in this chaotic world. And if you are the man offering this reliability, then ultimately, it is you who wins this complex game, even if you are chosen only in the last round. But when you are chosen, make sure you are not just someone's insurance against old age, but a conscious choice of a partner who has finally seen the light. Make sure she understands. True wealth is found not on Wall Street, but right under her nose, in the form of the calm, predictable, and loyal man who was always there. Most people will prefer to close their eyes and return to their comfort zone. But if you have watched until this moment, it means you are looking for answers, not consolation. You are looking for an understanding of how this relationship market is actually structured. Join the Psycharia community. Here we uncover uncomfortable facts and analyze the dark side of psychology. Subscribe right now so you don't miss the next breakdown. welcome to the real world.